Live from the chicken wing capital of the world, Buffalo, New York. You're listening to the Childcare Bridge podcast, your source for the best tips, tools, and tactics on how to market and grow your childcare center, ensuring total domination. Total domination. This is the Childcare Bridge, and this is your host, Michael Tasner.
Have you ever had a feeling that something was going on at your centers on the enrollment side and with tours, but you really couldn't put a pulse on exactly what it is or was or potentially could be? One of my favorite tactics to give myself a gut check is through secret shopping. And our team just got back from reviewing some secret shopping stuff with a multi-location center in Florida. And I want to walk you through some of the findings, and most importantly for me, it's giving you action. So like, what is these results saying that I can actually then take and put into action and fix something? Now, before I get into kind of the process and some of the findings and things like that, I want to give you a little bit of an aside or an asterisk. A lot of centers will tell me that they've done secret shopping before. We've had family come through that our directors don't know who it is, or friends come through and they've secret shopped us. The problem with that is that it's not something that's scientific. Anytime that I'm trying to gather feedback, anytime I'm doing exit interviews with the family that's leaving, I need to have unbiased information, and it needs to be covert. I don't want anyone, myself included, to know when someone's going to be coming in our center and potentially secret shopping us. So I know there's a lot of these like undercover people that will get hired and they'll go into a restaurant and they're going to leave a review, but many times an area director might tip off a manager, hey, you better make sure that everything looks good because corporate has some of these secret shoppers coming around. Now, you might not know exactly who it is, but you're tipped off as to when it's happening. So for this to actually be effective, it needs to be deployed by an agency like mine or a third party, and it needs to be covertly done so that you're only telling one person, for example, at the company. You're not telling the directors, the teachers, maybe it's the marketing person and the owner. Maybe it's only the owner, for example. And if other people know, it's not ideal because you're trying to get an authentic tour, an authentic process. You're trying to really see what's going to happen, what is going to occur. So for me, step one is really developing an exhaustive survey. What are all the different things that I want to make sure that the person or people that are walking into your locations, your centers, are looking for? The one that we provide, it's hundreds of questions. Now, they're not walking through with the clipboard. They're having to go through and they're taking some notes so it looks authentic. But they're having to do a lot with memory and being able to write some of these things down as well. So they're not like checking things off a clipboard. But it starts from the outside when they get to that first tour. But if you really want the authentic process, it starts even before the tour. The easiest thing for you to secret shop is to have a variety of different secret shoppers call the phone number and try to make a tour. And they should all ask very similar questions, with the only difference of these people being how many kids they have and or ages. So you don't want to have 5 people over the course of a week secret shop your phone team and say, I've got 2 kids, one is an infant, one is 4. Like, it'll start to become a little obvious, especially if it's the same person or people answering the phone. So we'll vary it there, and that'll allow me to ask about an infant, ask about multiple kids discounts, and different things like that. So the first secret shopping questionnaire that I want you to look at building is what are all the different things that if you were a potential family that you would want to be asking. Tell me why your center's different. Might ask about the tuition to see if they talk about it over the phone. Throw a couple of questions their way. And don't have a 2-hour conversation, but have a 5 to 10 minute conversation. And that to me is the start of the secret shopping process. You're grading that first interaction. How did they do? Did they invite us to book a tour? Did we have to ask for the tour? So that's the first piece. Now, what was very interesting with this particular set of centers in Florida is that their call team failed every single one of the secret shoppers by way of calls. The reason that they failed, not was because they weren't friendly or informative. None of them asked, would you like to book a tour? They all said things like, do you have any other questions? Is that it? Can I help you with anything else? They were not prompting for the tour. Now, the good news is that's an easy cleanup. That's an easy fix. That's an easy training. And we can get that team on the straight and narrow. Some of them discussed price when they weren't supposed to discuss price. Some of them didn't know how to give the proper directions to how to find their actual location. So their phone team failed with flying colors. So step 1, tour booking process. Ideally calling in. You can secret shop the website and live chat. I like doing that as well, but I want to see, can I get a tour booked effectively, yes or no? After that, I'm tracking, are they calling to remind me of the tour? Am I getting text messages, emails? How am I getting pushed to actually show up? In 6 of the 8 cases, there was no follow-up. None. No reminders, no emails, no anything. So that process obviously needs to get tweaked and fixed as well. So now we move to where everyone likes to jump to, and that's let's give me a pulse. Are the directors doing their job, Michael? Are they give me the feedback? And what's interesting with most of the centers that we've secret shop, there rarely is this big smoking gun of the director was absolutely terrible. They botched everything. They didn't know about this center. That really doesn't happen. And of the 8 locations that were secret shopped, the average grade was a B. So we use the A, B, C, D, and F. So the phone calls were largely D's and F's based on the way that we score things. If they don't ask for a tour, they're automatically dropped down to a D. The whole point of those calls is build a relationship and get the tour booked. And if you don't ask for the tour, similar to asking for the sale, you're going to be losing a lot of potential tours. So all in all, the centers actually did pretty well. However, there's always a however, each of the 8 centers had different aspects that if you would only have graded that aspect, they would have failed the entire thing. So our scoring system has 30 different areas that we're looking at, and I'll talk you through some of them. So it's not overly easy to fail unless you completely botch the tour. But there are different sections. So for example, similar to do we get phone call reminders to come to the tour, there's a follow-up section after the tour. Did I get a text message, an email, and or call? So if you were saying, oh, Michael, can you grade those 8 centers on their follow-up? Most of the centers would be a C, D, or F, completely failing that. If you were to ask me a different question and say, well, tell me about how clean the centers were. Every single one of them passed with flying colors. They were spotless. Spotless. They had that aspect down perfectly. Soft music to create an inviting atmosphere. I believe a couple of locations used, I don't know if it's called Scentsy or something, but the secret shoppers were saying that the scents were in the air and it smelled amazing. And so that aspect passed with flying colors. So when you're having a company secret shop you want them to look at everything with no stone unturned. How is the outside of the building? How is the parking situation? How is your first impression? Does the person at that front desk greet you by name? And if you're the only one, hey, are you with the Smith family, for example? Or that they just say hi and tell you to have a seat. How long do you have to wait to start your tour? And then as you go through the tour, you need to have, whomever is doing this, looking at all the different aspects. Are the teachers waving and seeming to be friendly? Are they showing you all the different classrooms? Are they showing you the playground? Are they referring to you by name and talking about your individual situation? That only happened in 2 of the 8 centers. They gave a generic tour, and even when they knew how many kids or child, or like 1 kid or 2, I think one of them even said they had 3, they knew that information, they knew the career, they knew where we lived, and they didn't work that stuff in. Now, the good news, again, is that when you put everything as a whole, the tour is moving. But if a parent takes one of these areas and like that, if that area for them to connect with you on the tour because you use their name, if that's the most important thing in their book, you fail. If they are very indecisive and they're looking at lots of options and you fail to follow up, you fail there. If they walk in and it seems like they completely forgot that you had an appointment, which happened in 3 of the situations, 3 of the centers, where they forgot about the tour, and you're judging off of first impressions, they would fail. So lots of little things start to add up. So what do you take with all of this, and what did I tell them that needs to kind of happen? What are some of the next steps? So rather than just beating them up, because they take it very personally, and I do as well. Like, I secret shop all my locations, an outside firm that I don't know when they're coming. They give me the results. I don't even hire them. Someone else on our team does. I don't even see the credit card charge. So I have no idea when they're coming. And even if I did know, I wouldn't be giving our team a heads up because I trust this process and believe in it. But when I hear things like the director was a little snippy, that's an issue. So we took everything as a whole and we said, where are the little hinges that swing big doors? Where can we deploy an hour's worth of training, change a process that'll see a bigger impact? And the easiest one that we went to was the follow-up after the tour. So we put in some marketing automation and we put in a process that sends a text message to the director and reminds them. And then we did the same thing with the pre-tour sequences. We improved and changed those sequences and then put in some manual work so that they can make sure that every tour gets confirmed. We played with the languaging and started tweaking and improving that. The little hinge that swings a big door. If you were generating 10 tours a week and you change the follow-up to make sure that they're coming to the tour, and now you're getting 12, you've got 2 extra buying opportunities. If you were closing 5 out of 10 enrollments because your follow-up is weak and you improve your follow-up and now you're closing 6 or 7 out of 10, you're cooking with gas. Take it and look at what are the little hinges that swing big doors. Step B is we're taking all of the feedback cumulatively and we're going to put together full-blown training. We're going to do hours and hours of training that their team's going to go through. They're going to do quizzes. They're going to have to show that, hey, they've gained this new knowledge on how to better sell during the tour, how to connect with families, all of those little details that it's not something that we could just roll out in 5 minutes. We're going to deploy some special training for them and put it together in a platform again that their team has to actually engage with it and answer questions. So my homework assignment for you today, my big aha for you today, is that nothing is ever going to be perfect at your centers. You're never going to be 100% all day, every day. Your team is never going to be at that level. My team's never at that level 100% 5+ days a week. But once or twice a year, I want you to put together an exhaustive list of what you want secret shopped, engage with a company like mine or another one to help you deploy this, and then look for those 1 or 2 little hinges that can swing a big door to start to improve your conversions. When you look at everything across the boards, improving a couple of little things to get you some more families in the door for the same amount of money that you're investing can add up heavily. 1 extra family, for example. If your tuition's $1,000 a month, That's worth $20,000 to you over the next 2 years. One thing, one little change. If you convert one more, little hinges swing big doors. Michael Tazer signing off. Good morning, good afternoon, and good night. I'll see you next week.